Here at the Porsche Museum in Stuttgart, Germany. And it's awesome because they give you a cell phone with an earpiece and it plays the whole museum in your target language while you're here. So even though I don't speak German, I can listen to the whole thing in English. This is a pretty cool and good idea, honestly. And here we go, they've got a nice little timeline starting in the 1800s. And then as you go through the museum, it just goes up to newer and newer cars. So this is definitely pretty neat. An electric car made in 1893 by Porsche. That is crazy to think that we've had electric cars since the 1800s. So Ferdinand Porsche made it in 1893, and it's the Sempervius Porsche. And had an electric drive. It was pretty cool. And then from there, they started making hybrid vehicles. So as you see over here, this is where they had both electric and hybrid vehicles. So it's pretty interesting to hear that these vehicles did not have a combustion drive like we use today. They had hybrids where the combustion engine would power a generator, which then powered an electric motor. So it wasn't until the early 1900s that Porsche actually started moving into having combustion engines that just drove the vehicles. That is super interesting, and I definitely did not know that. Definitely interesting, especially when you come over to this one right here. So this is Hitler and Volkswagen. So learning about how the car was propagandized for the value of Adolf Hitler. It's just super interesting things that you can learn whenever you take the time to go and see not just the giant historical landmarks, but also some of the technology industry and different pieces that all come into it. And then here you can see some of the tanks that were made during the World Wars for both Volkswagen and Porsche. You see the Porsche Type 205 tank that was made for World War II. So pretty interesting to look at the Type 60 Porsche that was made for flag officers to drive around and communicate. And then over here you see a mock-up of the actual armored vehicles that they were producing for the war effort. So here you've got the Porsche Type 360 Alia, probably one of the most beautiful racing cars that was never actually used to race. So it was a factory owner commissioned it to be a racing car right after the Second World War in 1947. And so this is pretty cool. They were basically told, hey, money's no issue, money's no factor, build us a dream single-seat racer car, which is pretty legit if you ask me. You can see where they were making tractors. And then this is the 360 we just did a video about. Sistalia, some of the different engine components. And it was brought to Argentina, where it broke the South American speed record. So there's just a lot of really cool history here.
Playing the 180 degree V engine.
Yeah.
To her, and she's just like,
yeah.
maybe Brian should have come. Maybe
Yeah.
Charles should have come.
Yeah, we love all these cars. Here we've got the 550A Spider, made in 1953. This is a very nice car. In 1960, a guy won the Targa Florio with this car, with the high-performance flat 4 engine. So that is definitely pretty cool. Whenever they beat the Ferrari and Maserati with their bigger engines, and this guy was still able to win, even having the smaller, more high-performance engine. And here, seeing as we're going beyond the 1950s, we're starting to get into some of the more modern and just interesting cars as they're getting into not just racing, but also coming down. So like this is the Porsche 718 RS60 Spider. Very high performance car. Definitely a race winner. And now you're getting into the Porsche 356 Speedster prototype, which is where a lot of the cars that they have today are built off of. These, when you start looking at your kind of commercial models, and less in the racing sphere. Here we've got a police car from 1964. It's the Porsche 356C Cabaret Policia. Then we've got the Type 6 95 T7 from 1960 as well. As we keep going here, we're going through their 1960s collection. You can see we've got the Porsche 911s. Absolutely beautiful, first generation 911. And then we just keep going. We've got the Porsche 904. So what kind of makes this car unique is this was the first model which had a glass fiber reinforced plastic body. So it's pretty interesting. So built in 1963. Can go 250 kilometers per hour, which is roughly 220 miles per hour. Just a very nice, clean car. All right, going past the 911, this gets you into the 911 2.0, built in 1967. So to comply with a lot of the sticker laws in the United States, they converted this to make it a safe convertible. Sorry, they adjusted it to make it a safe convertible as a coupe, and the Targa principle was born. So this line of Targa models with neither cabaret nor a coupe, and it was neither a hardtop nor a limousine. It was something completely new, and to this day it remains part of the permanent model range if you're ever ordering a Porsche. This is the Porsche 906 Carrera 6. It was made in 1965. So it was made from a tubular space frame, and it's the first time that Porsche ever built a car that kind of broke away from their normal streamline. It was made to be a pure racing car. It's the only Porsche with gold wing doors, and they made it to race and only to race, making it as absolutely as aerodynamic as possible. And then also, they just want to have it go through and just be the fastest, cleanest race car that they can make at the time. This particular car won the 2018 Grand Prix. So definitely super interesting looking at historical cars that are still just power horses when it comes to racing in the modern era. And now we're getting into the 1970s, starting off with this Porsche 917, built in 1969. It'll go 320 kilometers per hour. Just the first Porsche 1917. It was unveiled at the Geneva Motorsports Show in 1969, and it was used as a test and presentation car throughout its lifetime, and it actually never raced. Test drivers in Nuremberg, basically used on the skid pad at the Frankfurt International Motor Show, and it was announced that Porsche would collaborate with other car companies and repaint it light blue and orange, and they would move forward with the sponsors. And it was used all the way up until 2019 as a promotion vehicle for marketing. And moving into the Porsche 1917 LH Coupe, this car will go 387 kilometers per hour. And it is just one of the fastest racing cars that Le Mans has ever seen. It's taken part in the 24-hour races in 1970 with an average lap speed of 240 kilometers per hour and a high speed of 387. So it is a pretty legit car. And here we have a Porsche 911 electric. So again, what kind of makes this car a little unique is it goes 270 kilometers per hour. And it is all unique. It's one, at the time in 1973, was one of the fastest electric cars on the planet. It's the 935/7, nicknamed Moby Dick. Went 366, and just absolutely, again, very fast cars.
Abtriebsformel, wie man das Ganze berechnet. Ich bin aber kein Ingenieur, Jungs, da müsste jemand anderen fragen. Ja? Da kannst du jemand fragen, warum das so ist. Da kann das natürlich genauer erklären.
Alright, so now we're starting to get into the 1980s. We're starting to get a few of their race cars and getting a lot more of their production cars that you might still see on the road today. Like here, we've got the Porsche 956. Still goes 315 kilometers per hour with the based on the 911. So, and then now we're starting to get to the more modern racing cars that Porsches have been pushing out for both Formula One racing as well as some of the different competitions that they have out in Europe every year. So all in all, this is a pretty cool museum to be going through. Just like, see a mock-out they have here of one of their engines. And it's just amazing at how much power they're able to produce from such a small engine and just such a small amount of metal. And just how much just raw horsepower they can produce. Yeah, so we got the Porsche 911 GT1. Still goes 320. It's got the Turbo 50 on it. Made in 1997. Again, you just start getting into these cars. It's not so much about how fast they can go at this point. It's about that they can maintain their rate of speed throughout the duration of the race. A lot of these, you start getting into your endurance cars. So they're pushing high rate of speed for 24 hours, and they're able to maintain that speed in their turns. They're able to maintain their fuel capacity more so than going, almost 400 kilometers per hour. They're able to maintain 250 kilometers per hour for hours at a time. We got the Hans merger right here. So this is the McLaren Tag Porsche Formula One. So it will do about 370 kilometers per hour. Just a beast of a Formula One car. All right, now we're getting into the 1990s. We got here, third generation Porsche 911. So again, these are cars that you could still see driving on the road today. It goes 290 kilometers per hour. It's very lightweight, and it's built as part of a limited series with only 86 units as part of the Porsche exclusive. For weight reasons, the Turbo does not have power windows, air conditioning, or power steering. So again, this is somebody who likes driving but doesn't mind driving without comfort. As you can see, we start getting into more and more of the more modern Porsches throughout this portion of the museum. Now we're getting into the lowest price point entry for the Porsche. This is the 960 Club Sport. which was made in 1993, as just a way to get a racing car to a little bit more of the masses and have something more affordable so that people could get into the racing industry and racing games without breaking the bank completely. Just as we're coming in, we start getting into some of the Mercedes-Benz. This is like Mercedes-Benz E500. So built in 1995. So this is definitely interesting. Porsche Boxster. Start seeing some of the Formula 1, Formula 2 cars. This is the 5th generation 911. You can see they've cut it in half so that you can see what the inside of the car looks like. This one was used in Formula 2. And as you start to see, we got the Porsche 911, Carrera 4. And then over here, I'm going to zoom in, that way I don't have to walk over there. Just a few of the trophies right there. Just a few. Well, there's no way I would ever be able to get past this without taking a video for Harlan. So, if you're familiar with cars, this is Sally. She's a Porsche 1911 Sally Carrera. So she's built off the 1999 model, and it was used in the 2006 film Cars to tell the story of Cars. And this was the Porsche who, obviously, as you watch the movie and know, is very much and very integral to the story, as she's the love interest of Lightning McQueen, the main character in the film. And if you want to know more about the car Sally is built off of, it can go 280 kilometers per hour. It has a 6 ZYL boxer engine. It can push about 221 to 300 horsepower, depending on how it's being rated. So, definitely an interesting car as well. We've got the Porsche Cayenne S Sport. We've got a mock-up of some of the engines that go into the real modern Porsches. And then here you can see the Cayenne Land Wagoneer. So now we're seeing Porsche getting into the SUV game. So definitely a absolutely beautiful vehicle. Comes with 2 rows. Has a little bit more going on here, room for spare tires. So this is where we're getting into very much the modern Porsche diverging from just having coupes into having some sedans and having a few of the modern Porsches that you're going to see on the street today. As an example, this car is from 2008. It's the Porsche 911 GT2. So a lot more going on here. This car will do 329 kilometers per hour and is built off the chassis of the 1911 GT1, and then now, chassis of the GT3. I can't get my words out. Here we have the 911 GT3R. Just, again, these are all very powerful, very clean cars. We've got the 911 Turbo S Coupe. It's the 918 Spider Edition from 2011. We'll do 315 kilometers per hour and has about 390 horsepower. Here's the 918 Spider. Just very powerful, aggressive looking small cars. So there's the 7th generation 911. It's the 911R. And then over here we have the 919 Hybrid, which will do 340 kilometers per hour. And the electric engine has 368 horsepower. The gas is 368 and the electric has 294. Very fast cars. Panamera Turbo from 2016, followed by the Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT from 2021. And we have the Cayenne Turbo from 2024. So this is now completely modern, brand new Porsches that are coming out today. Definitely interesting to see all the different design changes they've had throughout the years. This is the 944 Turbo, just chassis built drivetrain. So you can come through and see some of the more classic ones that they have as we get near the end of the museum. Pretty cool museum here in Stuttgart, Germany. So I hope you guys enjoyed the little video. Pretty cool day here, walking around the Porsche Museum, getting to learn a little bit about history. All in all, it's a good time. So if you guys like it, I hope you like, subscribe, maybe even become a member. Enjoy some more time here at Working Dad Notebook as work, see the world, and get to have new fun experiences together. Love you guys. Bye.